From 1968 to 1977, the Chargers went 18 straight games without beating the Raiders. Finally, in their second meeting of 77, they broke the streak. And in 78, when the break started going their way, it seemed certain that the Chargers were about to win their second in a row over the Raiders.
We played lousy. I mean, we should never have been in that position. I was mad. I was mad at our team. I mean, I just thought that we were terrible. We stunk. We stunk out the joint that day.
We had beaten the Raiders up and down the field that whole day. They get down to the final seconds, and in typical Raider fashion, they're still in it. So I think there was a feeling on the sidelines that, hey, let's get these final few seconds out of the way and start celebrating. And it didn't quite happen that way.
Absolutely impossible dream of a play.
On that particular play, I do remember that my responsibility was to block the linebacker if he blitzed.
Woody Lowe beat whoever was supposed to block him, and he came pretty clean and got to me just as I started to set up. I mean, got to me awfully quick, and then that's when everything takes place.
I was able to get my hand on Kenny. Kenny was backing away, and I thought Kenny tried to flip or throw the ball underhand. I thought it was an incomplete pass. I thought I was the hero of the game, to be honest. But it was just the opposite.
I remember looking back at Kenny, and Woody Lowe had him around the arms, and he couldn't raise his arm up to throw the football, and I hollered, "Snake, snake." So he kind of flicked it, and I couldn't get to it, but it was rolling end over end in front of me.
Now, Pete Banaszak goes to pick it up, and he knows that if he picks it up, gets tackled, because he's a smart player, that the game's going to be over, so he can't get tackled with the ball.
Pete Banaszak picks up the ball, and he starts to get tackled, and he just launches the ball up in the air.
At the time, I thought it was a smart thing to do was just get my hands on a football and just push it forward and keep it alive, because if I would have jumped on it, he would have jumped on me, and it would have been all over.
The minute I saw Banaszak propel the ball toward the end zone and spotted that there was nobody between the ball and Casper and the goal line, I said, we're going to win it.
Then Dave Casper, another bright player, comes in the front. The ball's around the 2-yard line. Now, Dave knows if he recovers the ball on the 2-yard line and is tackled, the game's over, because there's no time left now.
And I'm on the 2 or 3 yard line, and the ball comes, so I just run out there and try and pick it up, and of course I flub that, and I'm scrambling on the ground watching it underneath me, and I saw a white stripe go by, and I actually just kind of fell on top of it. I didn't dive on it. I just, like I said, my greatest contribution was standing in the middle of the field.
It was all surreal. It was part cartoon and part Rod Serling. Then it just seemed to be like the sound had been turned off, and it just became a muzzle and a buzz. And it was just absolute lunacy in a surreal sense, in the fact that nobody could really figure if this was going to count, if this was going to be good, or if the Chargers were going to have their victory.
Still blows my mind how the referees could not see what it was or discern exactly what happened, but Woodrow Lowe clearly got a sack on Stabler, and he shoveled the ball forward. It wasn't a fumble. I mean, he threw the ball, and if you ask Banaszak what he was doing, he was advancing the ball illegally, and then you ask Casper, well, he had to push it across the line and then fall on it for the touchdown.
I would assume with Banaszak and with Kenny and Dave Casper that they probably wouldn't pass the lie detector test if you asked.
In typical Raider fashion, if you can't beat somebody the right way, you cheat.
That play was well within the rules.
I cannot think of a more outrageous form of outright Raider thievery and cheating that's ever occurred.
And it was one of those things that maybe you can't do that, but the rules say that you can do that, so you can do that. And if you don't want to do that, then go change the rule. And that's exactly what they did. They went and changed the rule. Now you can't do it anymore.
There's nothing real in the world anymore. This one will be relived forever.
Instant Replay is brought to you by the new Dodge. We're thinking ahead.
Some great